The Halfbrick Show.
Testing. Welcome back to the Halfbrick Show. I'm Aiden from customer support here at Halfbrick, but today I wanted to check my mic, make sure it was working, do a little bit of a impromptu QA member stuff, which, I'm realizing that's probably a bit offensive to actual QA team. They do a lot more than that, and we deeply appreciate them. But,
I mean, I don't know if it's offensive or not. To me, that felt like a very well planned out, well thought joke, which I wonder who wrote it, honestly. But yeah, but I don't know, we'll allow it because today's episode is exactly about that. What QA actually is, what it definitely isn't, and what else some of the amazing QA team members have been up to before heading into this profession. As always, I'm Carmen from graphic design / marketing, and I also did some testing today because my monitor refused to work. Yeah, it was fine once I unplugged it and plugged it back in. So all this trick in the book, I guess. Still a little bit depressing, I would say.
Are we officially QA now? I actually had to whack my monitor about 2 weeks ago. It went half black on one side and I just whacked it and it worked. Because when you know it's dead anyway, you just start,
Like with your hand, you just
slapped it. Just an actual slap. Yeah.
Did you also blow on the cartridge to see if that worked or something?
No. I don't know. I was like, there's no way this is going to work. And I just did it. And, like the meme where the guy just punches his monitor or his TV and then it works. It was exactly like that. Anyway, luckily, Halfbrick at least is full of actual people with a lot more technical expertise than you and I. So today we're joined by Maddy, who she's been at Halfbrick for over 10 years. I can't remember the exact amount. We'll ask her. And worked across QA, customer support, shout out, production, project management on Super Fruit Ninja for the Apple Vision Pro, and probably a bunch more. Maddy's got quite the resume, not to hype her up too much before we say hi, and I can't wait to dive into the chat. So yeah, let's get into that.
Who the brick are you?
So welcome, Maddy. How are you feeling? Who the brick are you?
Hello. I'm feeling good. I'm Maddy, or Mads if you like the Discord. Yeah, it's been a good day. How are you?
Yeah, good. It's nice to have you back on the pod again because you were here for the hot seat. And thankfully this is, I guess this is a little bit more relaxed. I don't think anyone is going to judge you for your opinions today.
Yeah, less controversial.
Yeah, I actually can't even remember the opinions, but it is great to have you back on.
I do, and it was great. Yeah.
Did you also mention gun crypt? I feel like we had a lot of gun crypt mentions.
Yeah, look, I'm probably going to do that again a bit today.
That's fine. That's great. Maybe Carmen, you and I don't say anything more about it, so Maddy can do that plugging later on then.
Feel free to do it. Feel free to take it from our hands, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have nightmares with that gun crypt bit, and I could probably just recite it poem style with my eyes closed. I'll do one that rhymes for the next episode. So,
cool.
Yeah, for those that maybe haven't listened to the hot seat episode or are just arriving now, or maybe they just don't remember, could you tell us a little bit about who you are and where you are from, as well as what you do at Halfbrick?
Yep, so I'm Maddy. I am from Brisbane, Australia, and I'm doing QA right now, but I've dabbled, I guess, in a few areas over the last 10 years or so.
Just a few massive lists. So at the moment, QA team though, hey, full QA.
Yeah, I'm back to being just pure QA, nothing else on the side, aside from, I guess, the odd bit of Discord support when people have bugs there and stuff.
Yeah, I do appreciate you being in the Discord too.
I miss it.
Yeah, well, did you do full Discord at the point?
Back in the day, yeah.
Oh?
Ages ago.
Okay. I didn't even know how old our Discord server was, to be honest. So.
This was before we had the actual Halfbrick server, back when it was just fan-run separate ones.
Oh, yep. And you're in it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm old.
Well, at least if you can comfortably talk about Discord, I don't think that puts you in an old bracket. Unless, because then that also means we're old, which we maybe
we're not.
No, okay. No.
Maybe you are.
We're both very young.
I don't think so. I'm actually, I was born yesterday. So, okay. Maddy, we got some personal questions. I got to ask these to every guest. First one, I can't remember if we asked it on the hot seat, but we'll say it again anyway. Can you give us your favorite game
So it is Dan the Man, definitely, I think.
of all time? Any
Full
company?
time.
Like,
I thought it had to be Halfbrick Games.
no, you can go
No.
wide, but obviously, Dan the Man, if it is, that's fine. Normally, it's like a childhood game, though. So, have you got a? We can take Dan the Man, but have you got another?
I mean, look,
game?
Dan the Man is great. I
Yeah.
love BioShock, the series, and
Mm.
Red Dead Redemption.
Mm.
It makes me cry in a good way, and I'm like, ooh, I'm having feelings riding my horse, and I love this.
Mm.
I want to replay it every year until I die.
Do you do that?
Yes, right now I do.
Wow, that's
Do
pretty
you have
cool.
a favorite Bioshock game?
I think I really like the first one,
The
Mm.
first one.
just because
yeah.
it pulled me in. It really made me see how great storytelling could be, and all
Mm.
that stuff, and also that betrayal at the end.
Yeah, I was going to say
Yeah.
that.
Well, spoilers. No, I'm kidding. How
Like
old
I
is that
have
one? That's like
my
13
Big
years
Daddy over here that I made because they were too expensive to buy.
old. Is he crocheted?
Yeah,
That's sick.
my little guy,
Oh, that's
my
so
little
cute.
drill.
Yeah, okay. I haven't. I think I've
You
only
haven't
played
played it?
Infinite. I've played Infinite, and I loved Infinite, but I haven't finished 1 or 2.
Gotta go do 1 and 2, and then you've got to go play the DLC because it comes full circle,
Mm.
and then just
For
cry
DLC
again.
for Infinite?
Yeah,
Okay.
Burial at Sea.
Burial at Sea. Okay.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I was one of those kids who grew up watching like top 10 lists of Watch Mojo game things, and I swear Bioshock was always in there.
That's how I know you're young.
Yeah,
YouTube top 10 lists.
it was a lifestyle for a few years. So I did get the ending spoiled anyway. That's why I've never really played through it. You know,
Just watch a gameplay. Watch a gameplay. I mean, I played it a big while ago. I mean, I don't even remember when I
I
played
love
it
how none of us are
first.
dropping exact numbers for how long ago we've done
'cause
things.
I don't remember it at all. I don't remember
Yeah.
it at all. But there's some very good commentary list gameplays on YouTube. And the good thing about Bioshock is that it's like a movie. It's like a series. I mean, it's an HBO series before HBO series were a thing. And you can totally watch the gameplay entirely and you will enjoy it so much. Because I did. I was just like, I watched a video essay on how good the story was, and it just made me want to play it again, but I don't have time. So I just watched a 2-hour gameplay of the first 2 games. Amazing. Amazing. You can do that.
Okay. Well, hang on. So it's 2 hours to finish the whole game? Is that like a long play, or
I
is it
mean,
cut up?
usually the gameplays are cut out because there are a lot of missions. I mean, I'm sure Maddy knows this better than I do since she plays them. But yeah, usually the gameplays are just cut, and they just put like a little information of what the person has done and everything that they have obtained. So it's pretty good. It's just the story is so central to Bioshock games that you really can enjoy it on its own, I feel. Controversial take, I know, but I appreciate each and every way of playing, and I play story modes sometimes. Sorry.
No,
Nah,
that's
it's
fair.
good. It's good because there's like a lot of monologues and, cutscenes and stuff. So it's like, oh, I can rewatch this and catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going on that list, I guess.
No, the Eternal list. No.
Yeah. Hey,
Did you ever
it's
take something off the list, Aiden?
not that I can think of. Recently, I've been playing Saros, which is incredible. Bullet Ballet, I think they call the combat for Saros. Returnal was great as well.
I keep hearing about that one.
Yes, definitely. If you haven't, check that one out. The story's good, but not as direct. It's like you got to find audio logs and whatnot. I think Halo campaign Evolved, I finished that the day it came out. So I guess I'm adding to a list and then taking off the list. You know what I mean? So it's just like I'm putting icing on top of this cake and then I'm licking the icing off, and there's still so much cake underneath, but I just keep eating all the icing. So yeah, it's a weird analogy, but that's where
It's a good analogy.
it's a good analogy, but that's where I'm at with the list. So yes and no.
As long as it's not growing indefinitely, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I don't think so.
okay
It's
with
still it's probably like it's almost like a wedding cake at this point, where at least 3 or 4 tiers, but the ice, like the 5th tier, it's not getting built because the icing just keeps coming off.
Yeah. Well, it's way too early for cake here, so I think we're going to move on. And yeah, back to Maddy, our guest.
Yes, good call.
I wanted to know what exactly inspired you to get into the games industry, or how you came to be a QA, if there was anything that you can pinpoint.
I guess I grew up playing games a lot, but when I was a teenager, I got pretty unwell. And while I was in hospital for a few months, I was very kindly donated a laptop. And I spent a lot of time playing games. And at that time, a lot of the information I was getting about what was happening and, how I was meant to maintain after surgery and stuff was just doctors telling you or reading medical type textbooks. And I was sitting there and I was like, there has to be like a better way to do this for like, not all people, but maybe it's younger people where, we've kind of been a little bit gamified and, do like to do interactive learning and stuff. So I kind of thought about that for ages. I ended up going to university, doing a business degree for a year, still thinking about all that. I decided to quit business and go study video games because I was like, I think I kind of just want to do something fun that makes people's lives better, and maybe I can use it for like learning cool stuff in the future. So yeah, I quit my business degree and came to just do video games, got my degree in game design. And yeah, I've just kind of finished uni and been here ever since. But I really appreciate that, Halfbrick, a lot of our games are used in, medical rehabilitation facilities and children's hospitals. And I'm like, oh, it's cool. Doing those little bits of things I like wanted to do in the beginning, kind of.
Oh,
Yeah. You'd be happy to hear that the medical institution stuff's actually still happening from time to time. And everyone will reach out and they get,
Yeah,
Fruit Ninja Classic for patients' iPads and stuff.
I love it. Between that and like
Oh,
the
yeah.
VR ones used for like physical rehab, it makes me really happy to have to like contribute to stuff like that.
Yeah. It's probably the best part, just to be real, in terms of like actual impact.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. So that's from that straight to Halfbrick, you said?
Yeah, I pretty much graduated uni and then came straight here.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, I got very, very lucky.
Yeah. There's no in between little spot
Yeah.
before you find the. Yeah, great.
Also, I haven't left yet and refuse to leave.
wow.
If there was still an office, you would be clinging to the walls. Or
I've slept in that office overnight before and I'd do it again.
See, that's what I wish I was there for. That vibe.
Game jams.
Yeah, game jams, all hands with real hands. I don't know.
Did you decorate your
yeah.
desk? You strike me as the
Yeah.
kind of person who would have like a load of cool stuff on their desk.
I had some, I was going to say, I had some pretty cool stuff on my desk. I ended up taking some posters from work and they are up in front of me right now. Like one of the fan art from Dan the Man done in the Neko Atsumi style I look at every day and it's my favorite.
Oh, that's pretty sick. Is there a plushie Fruit Ninja somewhere or a plushie King Rascal that has existed? Like, have you got any of those? I know they exist, but it was before my time.
I've got a Barry. I've got the Barry.
Yes, there is a Barry.
I don't think I have anything else. I have like a Fruit PS4 Fruit Ninja physical copy.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, over on my game shelf, which we got when we released that.
Like the Kinect one, sorry, was it? Or
No, it's the PlayStation VR. But it's the disc.
Did that come out on disc?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I think it did. Or else I just have an empty case.
You did. Either way, that's still cool. Like I'm assuming it must have. I just
I feel like it. No, I don't know. I can't remember if we ever tested a disc or not.
well, if you have it, if I see it on eBay for $10,000, you've realized that it was the one and only copy. No.
Don't open it. It will
Yeah.
lose its resale value.
Yeah.
I can't tell if I've opened it or not from here, but I'll double check after this.
Yeah, that would be cool. If you should send a photo of that so we might be able to like pop it on the screen or something like
Yeah.
that. Because I haven't seen that and I don't think it's common. I could be completely wrong. But yeah. Okay.
We'll do an eBay search later.
Yes, we'll keep an eye out, see if you're selling it. So in that time at Halfbrick then, so well, how long is that now? I want to guess like 14 years, 13
No,
years?
I've only I'm just going into my 11th year now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They definitely overshot that.
I checked.
Okay.
We have a calendar.
Yeah, I was just trying to like brain it. Didn't work very well. Well, in those 11 years then, you've been heaps of things. You were, at least to the best of my knowledge, the original customer support lead, the one who kind of kicked off the current customer support space. Obviously huge, big fan of that. Did you lay that foundation for customer support at the start?
I wouldn't say so. So my old work husband, Seth, I think kind of spearheaded that collective team originally, back when each games team had its own marketing and support person. So they all kind of worked individually within each game team rather than a singular customer support team. But I think when I kind of started working on it and taking over was when we started forming that standalone customer support team back in the day. Yeah.
Okay, that's still pretty sick. It feels, I don't know. I just know when I came in, it was a fully established kind of setup, which I'm very grateful for. I just had to learn that and take it
I was
on
going to
from
say, like, I think we did a lot of the skeleton stuff, set up a lot of FAQs and basics, but like you and Brock have pretty much taken everything that we did very basically and just like improved it immensely.
Brilliant. That's what we like to
You're
hear.
doing a good job.
Thank you, Maddy. Yeah, it's, I don't know. I feel like every time we come on, I gotta glaze the work you've done beforehand, because I just genuinely, it's inspirational for me. It's a small space, yes, so it's important to have role models,
Yeah.
I think.
It's very exciting. I feel like I'm watching like a Friends reunion episode or something.
Well, when you work remote and you don't really get as much of a chance to, like, catch up, it kind of is like that.
Yeah.
Like with you or who else? There's like Riley. The kind of gang that I'm close with but don't work with, so it's nice. Yeah.
The people you occasionally film promo videos with and then don't see again for 6 months.
Yes.
Were you also in any promo videos, Maddy?
Yeah, I've done 2 with Aiden by this point, I think, if I can remember.
Oh, we did the Fruit Ninja VR2 one.
Yeah, and then the
Thrill
of the Fight. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird resume to build up, because it's not in either of our wheelhouses.
But we'll have
There's,
an
like,
IMDb
acting.
one day.
Yeah. It's a shame you didn't get into the Gun Crypt trailer. It would have been nice. After doing what I had to do, you'd be glad you didn't.
I was going to say, when I heard what you had to do, I was like, well, I'm glad I had to do real work that day.
Yeah.
It's true, that's you. I didn't even recognize you.
the prospector. Yeah. Yeah, didn't know that when I went over there and agreed to go and do that. But
so you just agreed directly to dance and shoot to the air and just say, I love them bullets?
when I got there, yes, because it was either that or turn around, I guess. Which
You never know what you're going to do until you
You
get
don't.
there, and then they tell you.
Yeah.
Every
I
time.
mean, the Thrill
And
of the
you're
Fight
too
one,
scared to back off,
Yeah,
right?
well, I mean, yeah, exactly. Maddy and I got to work with Tony Jeffries with the Thrill one, which we didn't know beforehand. Which,
Yeah.
That was cool. I mean, again, customer support, QA, you don't think those roles would be going and doing stuff like that. So I'll jump at any opportunity like that. If
No.
anyone listening on marketing has more trailers coming up, happy to.
Well, I was going to
Comment.
say that you guys could probably jump to the big screen, So if anyone from Netflix is listening, we have 2 very good actors here. You guys could probably feature in, I don't know, Squid Games or whatever you guys like.
Squid Games.
I would love to do that. I'd be
I
so
feel
bad
like-
at it, but I'd be so passionate.
We could probably, there's probably like an Australian Squid Games we could be on.
We make stuff
Yeah.
like Halfbrick Squid Game,
That would be,
but
we
it's
could
just,
put, like
it's just
Halfbrick characters in it? Or would
devs
it
at
be
a water park
the
falling
devs,
off
okay.
things. But it's like a paid day or something.
Maybe it can be like a fundraiser or something. That would
Yeah.
be cool.
I'm
See, these
terrible
are-
at it. Try my
Yeah.
best.
I mean, I think I would just do that if the Thrill team doesn't participate on it, because they have the best shape. They're
Yeah.
all super fit.
fit.
So we
Also,
would
their
like
arms are
shout
proper
out.
strong from all that gaming as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they probably have the best physical shape out of all of us, which I envy. By the way, guys, if you're listening this, I'm still opening to train. And I don't know, maybe lift 1 kilogram more than I do now. So 0 to 1. Yeah. Speaking of physical form, after working on support for a while, you went on to lead a whole new project on new hardware,
Yeah.
the Super Fruit Ninja, right? How was that? How did
It
that
was
feel?
really cool. It was pretty exciting. I joined the team a little bit into production. The person before me had set it up fantastically, thankfully, and the team was disgustingly talented. So they were able to work some real magic with what we were given. It was really fun and interesting because it was something I'd never really done before, and I was appreciative of just having the trust to go try something so wildly new compared to what I usually did.
Mm.
It was really interesting, and it was really cool to see the other side of game dev that I hadn't. Obviously, I'd worked with PMs before under them, but I'd never really seen how much they actually had to do every day.
Yeah. And it
So
was,
it was a
like
bit eye-opening.
the hardware was brand new at that point. Like, it wasn't Yeah, I don't even know if there's still secrets, but it was so secret when I joined that we
Yeah.
didn't even know what it was.
That's why I'm like,
You
I don't know
know?
how much I'm allowed to say still. Technically,
Yeah.
I think, like, you know.
That's fine. Yeah, whatever.
But it was really cool. I also loved it because the first thing I ever properly shipped on a team was the Fruit Ninja VR. So it kind of felt like a full circle moment coming to lead Super Fruit Ninja like 5 years later.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really cool. Was there a moment, you know, as you were PM of Super Fruit Ninja, when you were watching people play it, and did you think like, well, I guess there's two thoughts actually. One, did you see someone do something you're like, that's completely wrong? Oh my god, we got to change the whole game now, or change like the tutorial or something like that. Was there a moment like that first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we started
can you
doing
talk
some of
about it?
the Yeah, sorry. What did you say?
Yeah.
And can you talk about it?
Yes. Yeah, being very, very vague. When we did start some of the third-party testing with people who weren't on the team, it was really interesting to see what people counted as like slicing movements. We had some people doing things like hula dancing, kind of like, you know, when you play, okay, think of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and when they're airbending and water bending, like the motions they're doing, we had a lot of people trying to do stuff like that. Some people were trying to kick them, headbutt them. Think of like interpretive dance.
Yeah,
style.
but they're trying to like flow them around like that
Yeah,
one scene
yeah.
in Kung Fu Panda with the
Yeah.
dewdrop.
So like with us, we're like just karate chopping because we're like, we built the game. We know what you're
You
meant to do.
slice.
And we were like,
Yeah.
oh, we've got to rethink all of these like slicing speeds and the slicing rules because not everyone's going to try to be a ninja straight off the bat.
Yeah, that's true. Couldn't you also punch the fruit?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you like knocked it away. The bombs you could? Was that right?
You can punch them. That was my favorite.
That was sick. I do remember.
Or you could grab them and like throw them against the wall and then the wall would be splattered with fruit juice.
And being able to pet truffles in like your room was also awesome. Yeah, was that like, what was your favorite bit of it, of the whole project?
I love playing fetch with truffles.
Yeah.
I know we have a fantastic game going on over there, but truffles is the main game to me.
It was sick. I remember when I, got to, oh man, it's so exciting. It was just, that was when I realized like, oh, it's a game studio.
Yeah.
When I got to try that. I know Halfbrick, obviously, heaps of games, but this was the first one that hadn't already come out, that was still, well, maybe it had at that time. I can't even remember. It must have probably. And just getting to play it. And I'm like, oh, this is a new game. One of the first ones that have launched since, really cool stuff. And then knowing that the previous customer support lead went and did that, huge.
See what potential you have.
I know. It's crazy. Who knows where we'll all be in like another 11 years.
And say, in 5 years' time, I'll be back in customer support and you'll be PMing.
Yeah, I'll make... what game would I make?
The Colossatron dating simulator?
Yes, please.
We can be co-leads on that.
Okay. Yeah.
So, you can be the PM and do all of the organizing stuff, and I can just do the creative parts,
You'll write the romance subplots.
Of course.
Next game jam, I will join that team.
That actually, can we actually lock that in? I would love to do that. I feel like we can make that pretty quickly, and like to get a good prototype going,
Yeah, and I feel like the audio team would just have a blast, because imagine the amount of growers that they have to do.
Would Colossatron just
make them
roar?
sound sensual.
Roaring. Yeah, you have to do like a disgusted roaring, an interested roaring. I mean, I feel like it's a challenge for everyone involved.
I actually really want to do that.
Yeah.
On and off podcast talking right here. Yes. Someone bring that back up when we do a game jam.
I think that would be interesting. You could also have like puzzle segments, and dating games are big on Steam.
Like, because obviously you got all the cores in Colossatron that you used to build Colossatron. What if one is its heart? And you got to find it.
I'm having like Portal vibes where it's like each core is its own personality.
Yeah.
And one is still really just like, take me to space, please.
Why are we publishing this? This is like gold. This is secret.
Redact it and save it for when we can sell it.
If this game goes live, you know where the idea came from, listeners. Right here.
In 11 years. In
11 years when we become
It's
PMs.
dropping in 11 years.
I will happily QA that.
Yeah. Now you'll be right there with us making it.
Yeah.
This is the dream team.
We need someone with experience. So it's great. So when you are not suggesting basically the greatest ideas ever, what are you working on at the moment at Halfbrick?
So at the moment, I'm kind of between a few things. I've been working on kind of the Halfbrick Plus hub and kind of that ecosystem in general. So helping out the tech team, working on the player app of the hub, and also helping out with jetpack drag racing and football a little bit lately.
Mm.
Wow. You
And
must
they're all
have
kind
the
of intertwined with it.
most. Yeah.
Mm.
No, just going to say that you must have the most amazing card collection ever, right? You have already
Yeah.
finished it a few times.
I technically got all of them without cheating. Technically got all of them
Mhm.
by opening packs at least once. I
Mm.
cheated, 100 packs.
Mm.
But that
Yeah.
was just to make sure you could get every card within a pack.
Yeah. You do have you got to test it, otherwise the game would never get QA'd.
Yeah. That was a
It's
solid 2 hours of just opening packs, but it was like, hey, they're all there. Pass it.
That's fun. Well, actually, that leads well into one of the other questions we want to ask. If anyone thinks the QA is just playing games all day, which I guess to a degree that is, but what would you say is like the least relaxing part of playing a game for work? Is it doing 2 hours of the same thing?
Oh, look, okay, so it can get a bit worse than that. So some games, if you find a certain bug or a certain issue or like certain areas are getting refactored, sometimes you're playing the same 20-second sequence for 5 days a week for 8 hours a day just to make sure nothing breaks there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when it gets a bit brain mind numbing.
Mm.
And you kind of get to the point sometimes when you're doing it so often, it's muscle memory that you get to the end of the test, but you don't actually remember doing it. And then you have to do it again because you didn't pay attention.
Yeah, like the bug just happens and you don't even clock it because you're just...
It's like highway hypnosis where it's like, how did I get here?
Yeah. Is
you
that the
put
term? Is that the
music?
right term? Yeah. Yeah, music background. Well, you put like a
Yeah.
podcast on something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
a Halfbrick Show.
Maybe. But I've got my podcast audiobooks on usually, and then it's like, right, we're just going to keep dying in jetpack over and over and over on the first laser to see what happens and, which pixels of this costume might be broken when they catch fire.
Yeah, it is. I won't say it's a thankless job, but we're very grateful. So I wouldn't say it's a thankless, but it's a very big job. I think.
I
Yeah.
enjoy it. It's fun. Just, some bits and pieces of it. It's very much the same thing for days at a time. Which is why we play a lot of games. We spend a lot of hours in games. It doesn't mean we're good at the games because we're never actually playing them all the way through all the time.
Yeah.
So you'll see me with 500 games in jetpack racing, but a terrible win ratio because
you're
half of
running
those
to,
games
like, a
it's me.
corner for
Yeah,
10
I'm slamming
minutes
into
straight.
walls as much as possible to see what happens before
Yeah.
trying to run back to the end of the race.
That's how I play it. So for me, that's just a normal.
You're helping me
Sure,
test
I know.
unknowingly.
Well, it has been said that I do have a gift for it, but I think that I just have bad luck. Speaking of, pixels breaking and stuff, this is not to point fingers at anyone, by the way, devs, if you're listening to this, we appreciate you. We know you do the best you can, but we also are very curious to know if you could tell us what's the most cursed bug you've ever seen in a Halfbrick game.
So it was one of my own ones, actually. And yeah.
Cell phone, fair.
And again, I was just like, how did I miss this? Because it is literally the dumbest thing you could think of, right? So Fruit Ninja VR, if you had the PlayStation set to a very specific things, like if you changed the device language itself, certain languages automatically translated the code. So in certain countries and regions, we put out a Fruit Ninja game with no fruit spawning. Yeah.
And that went out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty sure it did.
Yeah.
It was fine in English because we had the in-game language options instead. We tested everything that way for the most part. And then towards the end of it, we were like, oh, you can change the device region. We should do that. And we did that. And then the whole time it's like, there's no fruit.
Change
There's
the
no
whole
fruit in Fruit
code
Ninja.
language. Wow.
Yeah. I was like, what is this? Is this just Ghost Town Ninja now? I was like, there's no fruit in Fruit Ninja. We figured it out, thankfully. And because we figured it out early, we were able to help a bunch of other devs who also ran into this issue with their own code in games. Yeah,
Cool.
which was cool. But at the time, I was like, this is my first job. The game is called Fruit Ninja, and there's no fruit. And I tested it. How did I miss this?
Yeah.
Have I forgotten how to work?
I mean, it's one of those things, and I think that's what most of the QA is, right? It's like just no one's going to think of that. But then
Yeah.
you still see it. It's like, okay, damn.
That's why it's like, I don't know how I did this, but I got to figure it out so I can tell someone else how to fix it.
Yeah. Because for the less tech literate like myself, just to clarify, most of the time code is just in your native language or English, and it doesn't translate for other languages. That's all done using external sheets that you call in with translations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess with this one, it was an issue with like normally with timings, you use dot points. So it'd be like, fruit spawn every 0 point whatever seconds.
Mhm.
And then when the translation automatically happened, it was going, okay, it changed to comma in certain places. So rather than seconds, it was treating it as minutes. So if you're in a 1 minute long mode, fruit's set to spawn every 3 minutes, you'll never see fruit.
You're just standing there, you see one
Yeah.
lemon pop up.
Yeah,
Well,
the special
that's-
bananas would rock up occasionally because they're on a different timing system.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there
that's-
and I was like, frenzy banana, nothing. Double points banana.
But that's the true Zen mode. That teaches you patience.
patience.
Maybe
The
you're
double
like
points would be pointless.
it's Fruit Zen Master. It's not Fruit Ninja.
Yeah.
Well, it's Zen mode, isn't it? That's early
It's-
prototype Zen mode.
Meditation mode. Meditation fruit. Meditation ninja.
Yeah, just taking the
Yeah. That one was
environment,
fun,
I guess.
but also a little bit, yeah. It was the first time where I was like, I don't know what is happening. And like, I need to tell someone, but they're going to sit there and be like, how? Like,
Yeah,
how did you miss this?
yeah. It's like something that.
What have you been doing the last 3 weeks? Slicing nothing?
Yeah, that's rough.
I'm
guess I
feeling
can see
bad
that's
for
the
you.
worst. Yeah.
Past you.
This was like the first thing I put out as well. So I was like, oh man, I'm going to lose my job.
You clearly it worked out okay.
Yeah, thankfully.
Thankfully.
Yeah, and you're still here.
Yeah, it's similar kind of vein question. What's your QA equivalent of a jump scare in your eyes?
So I'd say it's more like a psychological thing rather than a jump scare.
Yeah.
But if we get a build early on and we can't find anything wrong with it, it makes me really concerned and worried. Because
A
like it's one of those
perfect
things where part of our job is telling people what they did wrong, essentially,
Mm.
which isn't the nicest thing.
Someone's got to do it.
But like with this, it's kind
Before
of
the
okay,
players?
get a build. Nothing's wrong with it. Are we bad at our job, or are the devs doing so well this time that everything just went perfect? And I always get really suspicious and wonder if I know what I'm doing anymore or doing my job properly if I don't find anything wrong.
So it's existential dread.
Yeah,
rather
it
than
is.
seeing one thing and having it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I refuse to believe that like this is perfect straight off the bat as the very first version. That I'm like something's wrong here.
This can't be right. All the fruit is
Yeah.
spawning in Fruit Ninja.
Yeah,
Too perfect.
Fair.
it's like the lack of issues is an issue for us.
Mm.
I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. I was half expecting you to say something like, "Oh, when the game doesn't load," or something
That
like
happens all
that.
the time. Like that's normal. That's like a day-to-day thing. Like if that happens, I'm like, yeah, we've seen this a million times. We know how to fix it. If nothing happens, I'm like, there's something more serious going on here, probably.
Mm.
Like nothing is ever this perfect. One day it will be, and it will be genuine. That's probably the day like we won't need QA anymore because the devs are just so on point.
Mm. I mean,
Well,
we'll see
hopefully,
how Colossatron Dating Sim turns out. Maybe
Yeah.
that game will be perfect.
I
That might be.
believe that it
Yeah.
will be perfect for you, and I'm mostly just there to talk about game feel.
Mm.
that would be so amazing. I'm already smiling thinking about it. So that's a good KPI of success for me. So if one of the worst things that can happen is a game being too perfect, I'd really like to know whenever you play. Well, if you play after work, because I know that some people might want to do something different with your lives, but whenever you play games outside of work, can you ever enjoy them normally anymore, or are you always secretly QAing them in your head? Because we spoke to Fran in previous episodes, and he, for example, breaks games in his free time. Again,
After
that's
QA.
yeah, that's just what he does. But
Yeah.
do you have a similar take, or do you not
I
play
do.
even?
No, I do. It's very much a thing of like I play games for fun, but I don't really switch off the QA brain. Like I play a lot of horror games and like things like Horizon Zero Dawn and all that stuff.
Nice.
And it's very much I can see something looking weird over there. I'm going to start my own side quest, try to climb this mountain because it says I shouldn't be able to.
Mm.
It's like, what is that spec? Is that a broken pixel? Let's reload the save, run over to it again, and then send in a bug report for funsies.
Mm.
Oh,
Horizon's actually a really interesting one because like their camera, everything that's not in camera is like not rendering. I don't know how common that is for other games, but I saw that Horizon did it. And I remember trying to like trick the camera into turning fast enough to be like, I'm turning faster than the camera. Stop. Don't render.
I managed to be able to skip one of the final cutscenes, and that by jumping over a mountain, where it was like you had to go into one of the final battles, and it was a two-parter. And it was like, okay, walk around here. And then I'm like, or could I just spam jump up this mountain to just climb over it instead to get to the point I need to be at? And I did that. And then I just kind of got in there, and the part 2 cutscene started, and I was like, why did all these people die? What did I do? And then I'm like, I skipped a trigger point.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That feels like
That's I'm like,
Skyrim.
sometimes, playing games as a QA is fun. Sometimes you're just an idiot who's like, I must climb every mountain because it told me I shouldn't be able to.
That's that subconscious QA. You got like
Yeah.
conscious and subconscious.
It's like, they
Or a
don't tell me
problem
how to
with
play. I'm going to do what I
authority.
want.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carmen. What'd you say?
No, it's either a QA brain or a problem with authority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit of both, maybe.
Yeah, probably. All right, then. So do you reckon in your time at Halfbrick then, obviously not all QA, but do you think you've seen every possible way that a game could break, at least our games, because similar engines and whatnot?
Say we get close. Like, I feel like I've seen a lot of them. But then, each year as new tech comes in and new grads come in and they've been taught, how to do things new ways and bring in all these new ideas. I feel like that's always causing us to, find new bugs and new ways of breaking things. And it's still like every year is a new learning experience. Like, I think I figured out every exploit, every hack, everything in every game. And then this new thing comes out and it's like, oh no, here's a new way to break everything.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I feel like it's one of those things where as long as games are still being made, with people involved, there's probably going to be something that just doesn't match up with a QA process, right? Yeah. Fair.
Also, every time there's a new controller brought onto the market, a lot of the time some of them just won't work properly with a bunch of games, and then it's like
with
right.
Bluey, and we had to test
and that's when it's like, okay, what mapping has changed on this
Yeah.
one controller that's making it not work despite every other controller working? That's where it's like certain tech and hardware. We know it works with everything else, but then these new things come in and it's like slightly wired differently, which means we need to then rethink how we do everything.
Yeah, like a player reaches out, they're like, "Oh, my controller doesn't work." It's like impossible. We tested 10 different controllers.
Yeah.
It's like, which one are you using? Oh, the Game Man 1200. It's like, oh yeah, okay. Well, we didn't test that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. We get that in CS a bit as well. It's like
So you get a lot of the overlap as well.
have to try and find the closest equivalent to that controller to see.
Yeah. That's one of the things we see all the time with like devices from other countries. Like we're in Australia, like the ones I physically have in front of me, are typically a lot of Androids and iOSs, but then we don't have a lot of the other devices, people may have in other countries available to us to physically test on. So we'll get a bug report about one, and then it's like, right, okay, the closest I can find to this is still nowhere near what the player actually has. So we're just kind of blindly trying to reproduce things and hope for the best on like a device maybe three steps away from what they actually have.
Yeah. And there's just like one weird little connection somewhere because it's a different store or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is.
That's why a lot of the time we'll just message people a million questions. And it's like, we believe you. We just cannot reproduce this ourselves. So we genuinely need you to tell us everything.
Yeah.
Sorry, my cat's feeder is going off. I don't know if you can hear that.
No, you're fine. Yeah, shout out to those players who actually do give us that information.
Yes.
Very nice.
We appreciate you.
The VR
Also, if you're on Discord and I at you and I'm like, can you tell me this information? Please give me the information or else I can't do my job.
Yes, in general. If you're reporting something, just try and report with information. Video screenshot would be great. Always appreciate that for the most part. But I won't go any further onto that rant.
No, I mean, I think we've already discussed it, but it's very nice to say it again. At least we are not telling people to wishlist Gun Creep. Oops.
Yeah. Maybe they could just go do that instead. Do both.
Gotta say, when we talked about favorite games, I was like, damn, man, close second is Gun Crypt, which I genuinely love playing. Like outside of work, I load up Gun Crypt.
Yeah. Yeah. The Steam version of it was pretty that's the current version, right? It was getting a mobile build at one point. They're both really good. When we first got that mobile build, I was on that like nothing, and now that's
same.
Yeah, I got to get my gaming mouse for it though.
Love Deppy.
Yeah.
Well, we'll keep you in mind next time we do a challenge.
Yeah, we've done that on
And
the podcast before with Fran,
and
actually.
yeah, and you can come in and we can test more not really viable builds, which is what we did. And it was really, really fun. So you
Fran
probably
would have
shouldn't
loved
have
that.
said that. Yeah. Well, he destroyed
Fran
us,
won.
actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
This is- yeah.
He's been playing
Was
it a
his build-
bunch recently.
Was his build lightning or was that? I
Yeah.
can't remember what. Yeah, he had lightning. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you could only pick up lightning bullets, and he smashed it. Just, I don't know if he lucked out on the element, but regardless,
Honestly,
the
Fran is
skill-
just like next level across
Yeah.
everything.
We are still open to getting destroyed by another QA. So maybe
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
call
of
you
course.
next.
Yeah,
And
anytime.
you guys can both have bragging rights.
Season
Which
2, let's
is-
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And bragging rights is coincidentally the prize you get for finishing the next segment that we have, which is Guess the Community Comment, in which we will read out loud one comment and you have to guess if it's real or if it's fake, that is written by us. Bear in mind that these comments could be related to any kind of social media that we have. So maybe they are from a trailer, a short, or maybe they come from our imaginations. So I'm going to read it now. The one that we have chosen, maybe written for this episode, reads, "No offense, but they don't seem much like jetpacks to me. But ... no judgment. Very non-judgmental, I would say."
No
I
offense. No
think
judgment.
No
that's
offense.
real. Because I
Real.
remember a lot of the customer support tickets we used to get when we bought out some experimental jetpacks, like the bleeding heart. Sorry, not bleeding. The red coloured heart
Yes,
jetpack.
of course. Right. So you're saying
Hey,
real.
It's fake, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think it's
I don't
real,
know.
but I'm like probably going to be wrong.
Completely sure?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's real.
Yeah, it's real. It's
Yes.
real. So congratulations. But I do have to say that this wasn't for Jetpack Joyride. It was for Jetpack Joyride Racing, which it was very fun to me.
Because they're like
it's-
carts now, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
I
it's
feel
true.
like I should have picked up on that because I feel like you've sent us feedback like similar to that before, Aiden.
I mean, there's a lot of feedback that we see.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, they're right. They're not jetpacks.
Yeah, they're carts, even though some are.
Technically,
I mean,
the truth.
one could argue, is the machine gun jetpack even really a jetpack?
I mean, technically, a red-coloured heart is also not a
Yeah.
jetpack.
There are a lot of other things to question in the jetpack
Yeah.
law before the viability of it.
Like the turkey.
Yeah. Yes, that's.
The pot of
Another
gold.
one that we got some, fun messages about.
I actually, as soon as we started this and Carmen started reading the segment, I was like, yeah, Maddy's seen all the customer support tickets. You've probably got an eye for it, I think. Like, what's real, what someone would really say. But it does mean I can normally make a pretty good fake one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might be off my game. It's been a while, so I was like, good. Still
Nah,
got
you're-
some
you're on
CS
it.
skill left back there.
Yeah, no, definitely. This question's a bit more of a loaded one. If you don't mind appeasing those in the comments, Maddy, can you tell us where Dan the Man 2 is?
Look, I think, and I fully believe that Dan the Man 2 is on hold until the beloved raccoon Jimothy is kind of done gallivanting around and being adorable. So, like, I love cryptids. I think they're neat. Jimothy is basically like my god right now because it's probably the only living cryptid I will see in my lifetime. And I completely understand why, like, the Dan the Man 2 team or Dan himself would just stop doing everything to just go, bask in the glory of Jimothy.
Okay. Jimothy. I can't remember what
Hope you know what
looks like.
Jimothy
I have
is.
heard of it. I just haven't.
Oh my god, he's adorable.
Is it real? Is it like a real raccoon?
Yeah, it's a real raccoon and he's
It's on
adorable. He's
Wikipedia.
tiny, yeah.
Jimothy. Looking it
But
up.
like he truly is like a living cryptid and I love it. It's the closest we're going to get to like a weird grounded Mothman.
I just Googled it and it ran across the screen on my
Yeah,
Google
it does. Isn't it great?
page. Oh, what the heck? Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Little baby.
Come in the World of Warcraft. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we love Jimothy. Everyone is here for Jimothy right now, so nothing is getting done.
Fair. Okay. That's valid. We'll have to allow that one, I guess. Find Jimothy if you want more answers then, I guess. Listeners? I don't know if we need to put Jimothy on the screen. I'm adding a lot of things to put in posts, but we'll see.
We will.
Yeah.
Timothy deserves it, especially since he has done the money inside. So
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
He's got them in a
we'll just-
chokehold.
We'll just allow it. Honestly, I'm not about to go and dispute the cryptid
No.
spirits. No,
Yeah, no.
there are just some things that you have to respect, and Timothy is one of them.
He's going to be like Bigfoot legendary one day, but he's just going to be like tiny feet instead.
Well, our next question is one of the most difficult ones. Actually, if you thought that the Datterman 2 question was difficult, this is the one we usually get complaints or loving thoughts on, which is, what's one thing that the games industry has taught you that actually wasn't in the job description?
For me, it's, I think, very much that the team you're on really makes or breaks what you're doing. Like, anyone can make a game, but I feel like you can tell when a game is made by people who genuinely love what they're doing and, you know, pour that joy into everything they're doing. Like, some games, they're fun, but they just feel a bit empty and like they were rushed out for the sake of getting the game out. And then you see other things where it's clearly a passion project and, you know, it was made by people who wanted to be there. And in my experience, I found, you know, building games with people who genuinely are passionate about the games just makes everything work better. The game is, you know, fun. Just everything just works much better than, you know, being not at Halfbrick, but from previous experience, like just doing uni freelancing and stuff. Just, you know, some people you see are only there to make money. They're not there to actually make something they want people to enjoy as much. And I think, yeah, you really, like, that's something you don't really see in job descriptions, that, you know, you might be really good at making something, but if you don't have the joy and passion and you don't get along with your team, it's going to be a little bit empty still. I hope that made sense.
No, that makes sense.
No.
That's deep. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really the collaboration part that really comes across with a lot of these answers. But that was like a different spin on it. And that's good.
I don't know, maybe it's because like part of my job is jumping across to like all different teams all the time. That I'm like, you really see, you know,
different
everyone is
passions
there
and
to
such.
genuinely do their best rather
Yeah.
than just get a paycheck.
Yeah, I mean, when you're making games, that's kind of the hope, right?
Yeah.
Because you can do other things to get a paycheck if that's all it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah, many, many other things. Okay, that's it, Maddy. I think you've survived.
Yay.
Thank you again for coming on and joining us. It's been amazing hearing about everything you've done. Always nice to chat. You know, you're always around helping Halfbrick survive, all the bugs, the launches, the missing fruit. That's new. That's new. Didn't know that one. Live service things. I mean, the industry, and even in just the 11 years, has changed so much. So, really grateful that you're here at Halfbrick and on today's episode. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you for having me. I'm
Mm.
excited to see you at the next whatever ad we do.
Yes.
Or Colossatron Dating Sim.
Yeah. Colossatron Dating Sim, next hot seat episode, or next ad that we record, whatever comes first.
Yeah. I'm so down for Colossatron Dating Sim. Like, I'm going to be thinking about that all night.
I would love to see what the ad for that one would be like. If it's just like a person and then like just giant Colossatron comes down from the
nice
sky.
restaurant
Yeah.
crashes into the building.
It's-
I'm gonna I need to not think about work after this, but now I'm like, Colossatron Dating Sim.
Yeah, we need to storyboard some of this or something.
Carmen,
like that.
you've ruined my night now by, you know, talking about it. It's a great idea.
Yeah, he destroyed Earth. Now, will he destroy your heart?
Yes. Yes.
That's the tagline. Aiden's just made up with this.
No, it's just
It's perfect. I'm in.
Dead by Daylight did a dating sim called like Hooked on You with
Yeah,
the
it's
killers in
true.
Dead by Daylight. That's a real game that exists. And Sonic did a murder mystery game, which was also kind of a visual novel.
Yeah.
Yeah, the murder or the death of Sonic the Hedgehog or something like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, it's just one of those things where it's like, you talk about it and like, oh, this is so silly. But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, but it'd probably actually work. It's probably good. There's like that date everything game as well. I just hate that
Yeah.
it's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Just like to admit.
It is a good idea.
It is.
It took less than 5 minutes for me to be fully on board with this. And if I had like a lot of money, I'd just pay you guys to go make it right now.
Yes. Oh, I really hope we get a game jam.
Soon.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, and double thanks for getting on board with that idea, Maddy. And for our amazing listeners, we just want to say that thank you so much, as always, for being here, for listening to us. And please remember that you can email us anytime at the show at halfbrick.com.
Great email. All right. We hope it's been another episode that you can look back on with nostalgia. Thanks so much for joining us on this week's episode of The Halfbrick Show.